Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another game unboxing for another Marvel game. Surprise. Seems like that's all I do, but I love Marvel. We have Marvel Champions, the card game. This is a living card game. Um, Battle as your favorite heroes in this cooperative card game for 1 to 4 players. So you probably, or maybe you haven't, but you've seen I do a lot of videos for the Marvel Legendary series, which is a deck building game, where throughout the game everyone starts with the same generic hand, and you spend your turns buying cards from all the various characters. So if you pick like 5 characters to start with, and you build your deck, so each player's gonna have a mixture of all the different characters, but you'll have unique decks by the end. So the difference between that and a living card game is you have a pre-made deck. So this includes 5 heroes. We have Captain Marvel, Iron Man, Black Panther, She-Hulk, and Spider-Man. So you start the game like 1 player Spider-Man, 1's Iron Man, so on and so forth. And that is who you play as. You don't have other cards, you have a deck already built. Unlike a constructed card game or a trading card game, where you have to buy booster packs and starter decks and all that. You can mix and match, you build up your deck, and you go and you play against somebody else. Here, you just pick up the Spider-Man deck, you play it. It's already ready to go. You don't have to buy random packs. They do, however, have deck building in this game, which is actually a really neat thing. And we'll get into it when we get there. And you can buy like new hero packs, which you can switch. But the deck building aspect there's 2 different ways to do it. There's either like the really super quick way, and then there's the more traditional. But let's just go through the game. We'll see what's in there. Maybe tip this up a bit until I get this card. So we have our rule book here, of course. Good old Iron Man on there. Back is, of course, your quick reference, your symbols. I'm not going to spend time going through every single aspect of this. I just like to look at the book with everybody. This is my first time going through this. I am familiar with the game from reading about it and stuff, but I don't know what every single thing is, so I might not know what all the abilities or stuff on cards do. But you're going to get your decks. There's 343 cards in here. Some status cards, a ton of different tokens. Showing you how to create your little health dials, which is kind of neat. Showing some different setup stuff. Basically how you build you start your character, you pick your character, you set aside certain card, your obligation card. Each hero will have a small nemesis deck. So like Spider-Man will always have the Vulture. So specific cards that are, when you're playing as your hero, there's certain cards you have to have, and then there's certain cards you have to fight against, and then you kind of build the like the scenario you're playing against with them. So like one of the base scenarios is with Rhino, but if I'm playing as Spider-Man, I also add in the Vulture deck, so I might have to fight the Vulture as well. And then there's like lots of modular stuff in here. Which is what makes the game really neat. So you build this encounter deck by sticking in like right here, it says Rhino encounter deck, all of the Rhino cards, all of the standard encounter cards, and then the bomb scare. So you have the bomb scares like a special like side mission, and there's I think 4 or 5 in this set. I think there's 5 different ones. So basically, I can play as fight against the Rhino, and you can swap in these other little mini decks. So even if I played against the Rhino with Spider-Man and Iron Man in the exact same decks, I never changed anything, you can swap 5 different decks and at least make the game slightly varied each time. Plus Rhino has harder difficulties, but you can swap up your hero decks. Yeah, there's so much different customizing in here you can do just to set up the game. So like here they're showing a play area, you have your villain area, main scheme, you have side schemes that happen. You have your engaged enemies, an enemy that's fighting your hero card, allies that you can play, upgrades, support cards. Got lots of different stuff. And the core idea of the game is basically, you're gonna pay for costs using other cards. So if like I want to pay for this web swing, I have to discard 3 other symbols. So you're going through your hand, so you're paying one card to pay for another. And your allies can attack and do damage and all this. But what happens is the villain is trying to complete their Steam or their scenario, like the Steam deck. And if you are currently in your superhero form, they're going to attack you. So they're going to be trying, like, if I'm playing Spider-Man and I'm currently on my Spider-Man side of my card, they're going to attack Spider-Man and try and defeat him. At some point, whether it's because I need to heal or do something else, I can flip over Spider-Man to Peter Parker. And then if I do that, the villain stops attacking Peter Parker and goes back to his Steam. So you're playing a balance between trying to like defeat the villain and keep them away from completing their Steam, as well as, you know, it's between the two. You gotta bounce back and forth. It's a pretty interesting concept. I haven't played it, so I'm not sure how it all exactly plays out, but it seems really fun. I, looked at some of the boosters already. So here we have different types of cards. There's your identity card, which is your superhero, and you flip it over into their alter ego, which we'll see. They have their specific cards, so each hero has 15 cards that are specific to them. Their obligation cards, which are like bad things that basically hinder your hero from doing stuff. The Nemesis set, each hero has 5 Nemesis cards. And then the other thing that makes up your deck are these aspect cards. So there's 4 different aspects. There's aggression, which are red, justice, which is yellow, leadership, which is blue, and protection, which is green. So when you make up your deck, you take your 15 hero-specific cards, you take one of these pre-made decks that are already in the game, and so you can make a Spider-Man card. You can make an aggression Spider-Man, or a justice Spider-Man, or a leadership Spider-Man, and you can swap the decks between your characters to make different variations. And then that's like the simple deck building. So you can just pull out all the red one, all the aggression from one, swap them over to Iron Man, making aggression Iron Man instead. So it gives you different gameplay there when half your deck is essentially different cards. And then the other more deck building is you can actually start then dismantling those, and you can be like, well, instead of taking just the aggression cards from the core set, I can take the aggression from like the Hulk expansion, and like the other, like, I don't know who other character has aggression cards, the Thor expansion, and you can mix those cards and match them. Like take some over the one, put some in for the other, and you can actually customize them more tailored with all these other cards. It's actually pretty cool. And then we have villain cards. They have a main Steam. They have a fixed encounter set. So if you're playing like one of the 3 villains, which are Rhino, Claw, or Ultron, they have certain cards that they have to use along with their main Steam. And then there's a standard expert encounter set. So there's a extra little set of cards, depending on how difficult you want it. And then there's the 5 modular sets, which you can throw in. So there's a lot of customization. It seems like a lot, but it's not. And then here's just like playthrough, just like a little starter deck. So just saying, so like maybe try Black Panther protection, and they're kind of explaining what they are. Here's his cards. Here's the protection. There are also basic cards, which can be used in any deck, but like that's the other thing with building a deck. So if I take Black Panther, I can only use, or any hero you take, you can only use one aspect. So I can't take all of the pool of the cards and mix it. If I choose protection, I have to only use protection cards. At least for this character. They do have Spider-Woman that is coming out who can use 2 different colors, but that's per her special ability. So that'll be interesting to see how that works and how much more they do that. But yeah, then they have basic cards, which can be mixed and matched with anybody. And like they say, Iron Man, they recommend aggression. Captain Marvel, they say leadership. Spider-Man, they say justice, which are the 4 types, and then they went back to aggression for She-Hulk. So basically this is saying if you wanted to play your starting deck, you cannot play Iron Man and She-Hulk together unless you give one of them something outside of their starting suggested. And then here's just mentioning all that deck customization I was talking about. Here's the core scenarios, so just saying what you should probably use. So like Rhino, they say use Bomb Scare. Claw, they say Masters of Evil. And Ultron, they say Under Attack. But you can actually add in one of the other ones. They also have a couple other ones you can add in. Yeah, so that's the instructions. That's me rambling through all that, talking about it. Let's actually dive into some of the other stuff. Oh, look, we have another booklet here. A rules reference. Golden Rule, Grim Rule, Limitations. What's this Grim Rule? I think I've heard about this. If players are unable to find the answer to a ruling or timing conflict in the rule reference, resolve the conflict in a manner that the players perceive as the worst possible resolution at that moment with regards to winning the game. So that's actually a neat kind of rule. So it's saying, like, if it tells you to, it's like randomly, or like, choose a player to discard something, you don't know who to choose, as a terrible example. Like, choose to discard, like, 2 cards from their hand. You have to look at who would it hurt the most to discard. And presumably you'd be like, okay, well, this guy only has 2 cards in his hand right now. He's not going to be able to redraw back up for another full round or whatever. So, like, on his turn, so he's not going to have anything. If he discards him, that would be the person you'd target. It just kind of makes the game a little bit more fun. Rather than being like, oh, well, I guess since we can't pick anybody, it doesn't happen, type of idea. So this just talks about all the different keywords, costs, all of that. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. It's literally alphabetized, going through probably anything you want to know. That's actually super helpful for a card game. It'd be sweet if they made stuff like this back in the day when, like, trading cards were really popular. So you'd be like, oh, look, I got information. Like, even here, this is just showing all the different information for every single card. So it's like, oh, that's what the name is. That's what that symbol means. I was looking the other day, because I couldn't remember what this little circle meant on ally cards. I had to look everywhere, because nobody has this posted online, to find out that's their hit points. Yeah, so that was kind of frustrating. But yeah, it's showing all these different cards, scenarios. And they keep creating more and more, like, different card types as the game goes on, which is cool. So here's our token boards. I believe it's just the 2 of them. Yeah, it's just the 2 of them, so I'm not going to pop them out right now, but here's all these hit counters, danger counters, things like that. Here's your health meters that you have to build. You know what? Let's see if we can rip this open. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to, because we're doing an unboxing. So let's go all out, just in case there's something different on the other side. There shouldn't be. They all should be dual-sided counters, but you never know, and I'm trying to pop any pieces out. Yeah, so this is all the exact same, which makes sense. This side, then, just the difference is you get all your counter numbers. But that's actually, and you can tell there's a big one, and there's a bunch of little ones. And I believe the little 4 are for your heroes, so 1 for 4 players, and then the big one is for the villain, I believe. I would have to actually go. Here's the box with all the storage space we have. That's so you can separate, like, your 5 heroes, your scenarios, your different aspects, I would imagine. Here's pieces to hook together those spinny dials. We'll look at those. I do not know, though, are these going to fit in here sleeved, is my question. Not that it's going to make a difference because I'm personally not going to use this, this deck, or this box, because once I have all the expansions, they're not going to fit. So, I stuck in the set of Thor cards sleeves. So does it fit? Yeah, look at that. It's gonna waver out. Like if I have it flat and I have it kind of together, it kind of sits in there. Is the other side any different? No, I don't like that. I do not like that at all. Because these are sleeved and they're not fitting in there. I mean, I took these out of the sleeves. I mean, it's what the right thickness for them. But yeah, if I took these out of the sleeves, they're not going to touch that at all. So I don't really get the point of that. Unless I'm missing something and there's a bunch of dividers in the set. But that's just something interesting to show you. So, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, I bought this game, it has nice storage. Yeah, this doesn't really, is what I'm gathering. So we got 2 big decks. This is all the hero cards. This is all the villain scenario cards, or some of them. And then they did this. So this is actually kind of neat. And then they have some orange backers on here. But what they did was, they have a Spider-Man starting deck, a Rhino starting deck, and a Captain Marvel starting deck. So do not open until ready to play your first game. So, this is going to be the other characters. She-Hulk, Iron Man, and Black Panther. And then this is going to be, like, other Rhino cards, because they have, like, level 3, so this is, like, the harder version. Plus, it's going to be, like, all the other characters. So that's actually kind of interesting that they separated using the decks. It's like, I just bought this game. I can sit down, here, play with these 3. Play Rhino against these 2 characters. Get the feel for the game. I like how the blues match up, or if you just flip it to the reds. That's actually kind of funny. But yeah, that's sort of a neat concept. You don't see that in many games. They might be like, here's recommending starting cards, but that actually, like, here's your decks. We're going to keep them separate. So it's like these little tiny tokens. So we have, I might buy sleeves for these because I have stuff from Funkoverse that are the same size. Not that I'm worried about them getting wrecked because you're not shuffling them, but just why not protect them. So next time this character will attack, discard this status instead. Prevents an attack. Confusion, next time this character would thwart or scheme, discard it. So it prevents thwarting theme. And then next time this character would take any other damage, discard. So it prevents the damage. So that's neat little status cards. Alright, let's go through Spider-Man. Let's see what's in here. Let's first of all see if we can figure out how to open this. What is it with this game and not giving me them little easy to tear tabs? Alright, we'll do it the old-fashioned way, through the top. Alright, so the back of this card is going to show all the stuff from Spider-Man's deck. Just in case you want to know for some reason. Although, it's neat that they do this, but it's not super necessary because, let's sort out the Spider-Man cards. So Spider-Man cards are blue, or any of the character cards are always blue on the back. The orange ones are, it's probably like their Nemesis cards, they go in the encounter deck. So we're going to start with Peter Parker, and why I said it's not super necessary to have the list, because they'll have their little face on the bottom. Yeah, so how this game works is we start off with, we have a Spider-Man. I think you start off with the alter ego. But we're going to start looking at Spider-Man first. So he's a hero. He's an Avenger, because there's different cards that use keywords. He has 1 thwart, 1 attack, 1 defense. So thwarting is what you do to prevent steam. So you spend, I don't remember how you do it, but like when you do a thwart action, basically, you're removing one of the like tokens from the Steam that you're trying to complete. So he can't do a lot. Attack is what you use to attack villains or minions, and defense prevents damage. Down here, they're going to show your hand size. So Spider-Man has a hand size of 5, and he has 10 hit points. And if I flip him over to the Peter Parker side, he gains 1 more hand size, so he can do a little bit more, and he still has 10 hit points. It changes to Alter Ego, and he's a genius. He's no longer an Avenger, because he's in his healing form, and he has 3 recovery. This is so he can help recover his health. And then now it's Spider-Man's ability. He has Spider Sense, Interrupt. When a villain initiates an attack against you, draw 1 card. So basically, stop it to get an extra card. So that can be helpful. And then his Peter Parker side has Scientist, a resource. Generate 1 genius resource, limit 1 per round. So you can use that to play more cards quicker. Right now, the traders hold Spider-Man bit for a rocking chair and a good book. Alright, so that's Spider-Man. Let's look at his cards. So, I believe every hero so far, there have at least 1 ally. And we're going to start with Black Cat. So, they have little stars up on the top, which you'll see on Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I believe that is just stating that they're a unique card. Like, there's only Black Cat. Like, you can't have 2 Black Cats in play. Unless the rules might state that's why they have, like, Felicia Hardy on the bottom. Because they do have, you can make, like, they do have, like, some heroes now that are also allies for other decks. I'm guessing if you're playing Black Widow as a hero, you can't use Black Widow as an ally. I have to look at the rules set. But she costs 2 to play. That's the cost up here. 2 hit points. She has 1 thwart and 1 attack. And this little star means that when she does it, she takes an extra hit of damage. So she's a good attacker, but if she's going to thwart, she's going to take an automatic hit. She's a hero for hire. Just different stuff on this card. So, forced response. After you play Black Cat, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Add each card with a printed Genius resource, discard this way to your hand. So she really helps out Spider-Man, assuming there's a lot of genius. She makes an energy resource. And then down here are a couple other little symbols let's look at. So we're going to have this A symbol with a number. That's the set number. So it's A for Avengers. Which I'm guessing is just the core set symbol. Because, like, I've looked at some of the other ones. Like, Thor has a hammer. Captain America has a shield. That's just, what set it is and what number it is. And then the Spider-Man one is showing it's which card it is. It's 1 of 15, so you can keep track. And then they don't have anything on the back. And like, this will be 2 of 15. Now there's 2 back flips, so we have 2 of 15 and 3 of 15. But it's still card number 3. So like, the number only represents each different named card, but the Spider-Man identifier shows you which number it is, so if you're trying to make sure you have all 15 cards for his set. Alright, so a backflip, which doesn't cost anything, it's an event. It's a defense and a skill, so interrupt defense. When you would take any amount of damage from an attack, prevent all that damage. Have you been training? Because that almost hit me. So Spider-Man with his, webs, or his Spider Sense, which we're going to talk about now. 1 cost, Enhanced Spider Sense, which is a superpower. So this one says Hero Interrupt. So you can only do this one if you're on your hero side, so the Spider-Man side. When a treachery card is revealed from the encounter deck, cancel its when revealed effect. So get to dodge some stuff. Got a couple of those. A 3 cost Swinging Web Kick, an aerial attack and superpower. Hero action attack, deal 8 damage to an enemy. That's pretty big. Got a bunch of those. We have an Aunt May support card. She's a persona. So an alter ego, so this would be when you're Peter Parker. Exhaust Aunt May, heal 4 damage from Peter Parker. Goodness, Peter, you've been so clumsy lately. We have some upgrade cards. This actually boosts your character. So when you play these, and again, I'm just if I remember from what I've kind of seen from knowing games, is when you play the upgrade cards, they stay like on your character instead of getting discarded. Like this one says, attached to a minion. It's an item tech card. Force Interrupt. When attached minion is defeated, remove 3 threat from a steam. So basically take out a villain and you get to remove some threat tokens. We have his Web Shooter, which is an item tech card. So this uses 3 web counters. Enter plays with 3 counters. When those cards are gone, discard this card. So a hero resource, exhaust web shooter and remove 1 web counter to generate 1 wild resource, which can be used to pay for anything or as anything. So that's kind of, they do a couple of cards like this where they have counters that go on it. And they name them. So I'm not really sure what the whole point of naming stuff is. If there's anything that references removing specific counters or not. Because it's not like they have 20 different counters for each different card. So we have Upgrade. We have Webbed Up. Condition. Hero form only. Attached to an enemy. Max 1 per enemy. So you can't put a bunch of these on one guy. Force Interrupt. When attached enemy would attack, discard Webbed Up instead, then stun that enemy. We get 2 of those. That brings us to our Peter Parker set. So you can kind of see what his deal is. He dodges, takes out, and he stops people from doing stuff. Interesting. Different than some of the other. I mean, all the characters are gonna play differently, so that's cool. Then we have our aspect deck. So this is the Justice aspect. All Justice cards will be yellow. So like they say, for starter, use this with Spider-Man. But you could take this stack of cards here and you could replace it with any other hero's aspect to make them a Justice hero. Or you could take cards out of here and add different Justice cards if you want to, like, maybe tweak it a little bit more. Like, maybe Daredevil doesn't work well with Spider-Man, but a different yellow card does. You could swap them in and out. Or you could just add them, because you can actually, I think each deck has 40 cards, but the deck limit's actually 50. So here we have Daredevil. Murdock. He has Thwart 2 and Attack 2. He's a defender. Response. After Daredevil thwarts, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So he'll thwart 2, he'll take a point of damage, but then he also deals damage to somebody else. So that should be pretty helpful. We have Jessica Jones, who's also a defender. She gets +1 thwart for each side steam in play. She gets a little bit better if it gets harder. We have an event called For Justice, which is a thwart. Hero action, remove up to 3 threat from a steam. 4 threat instead if you paid for this card using a genius resource. And so that's where it ties in well with Spider-Man, because he has lots of genius stuff. We have Great Responsibility, Hero Interrupt. When any amount of threat would be placed on a steam, you take that as damage instead. Spider-Man card. So this is one card that gets repeated with a lot of the different decks. This is the power of. So each one has a different power of aggression, power of leadership. So it's max 2 per deck. So there's only 2 in here. So you can't load up a bunch. Double the number of resources this card generates when paying for a Justice card. So normally it only costs 1, but if you're buying a Justice, you can use it to pay for 2. Alright, we have an interrogation room. We have a location, max 1 per player. Response. After you defeat a minion in the interrogation room, remove 1 threat from the steam. And then, so we have 2 of them. See, we have 2, but you can only have 1 out at a time. That's what it means by max there. We have a surveillance team, which is a shield card. Use 3 snoop counters when entering a play. Okay, exhaust. Surveillance team, remove 1 snoop counter, remove 1 threat from a steam. So this Justice, that's all about just getting rid of those threat tokens. Heroic Intuition. Skill, play under any player's control, max 1 player. Your hero gets 1 thwart. Yeah, so this is all about thwarting stuff. He does helps with thwarts, he gets better for thwarts. Does stuff with thwarts. Prevents schemes from getting stuff. So yeah, this Justice deck is all about thwarting things, which could work really well with Spider-Man, or just in general. Alright, we have a few more cards here for the Spider-Man deck. We have the basic cards, so these can be put with any other color, doesn't matter. And again, you could take the basic cards from Spider-Man's deck and like swap them with, like, if you bought like the Black Widow deck, you can swap them with her basic, or again, you can combine them and mix and match them. So we have Mockingbird, Bobby Morse, 3 health. She's a shield spy. In response, after Mockingbird enters play, stunning enemy. So that'll help prevent some stuff. So these ones might not theme as well with the Justice or Spider-Man cards directly. So you have Nick Fury, who costs 4, but he does have 2 attack and 2 thwart. Forced response, after Nick Fury enters play, choose 1, remove 2 threat from a scheme, draw 3 cards, or deal 4 damage to an enemy. At the end of the round, if Nick Fury is still in play, discard him. Basically, comes in, does this awesome effect, you use him as quickly as possible because he's going to disappear. We have an emergency event. Thwart, interrupt, when a villain schemes, reduce the amount of threat placed on the scheme by 1. So that works well with this deck. First aid. Action. Heal 2 damage from any character. Does it qualify for first aid if it's your second day in the hospital? Clink. So again, this should work well kind of with that Spider-Man, with the Justice card, your responsibility, where you can take damage instead of the getting threats on the scheme. Plus with Aunt May and this card, you can heal yourself really quick. We have a Haymaker. Hero action. It's an attack. Deal 3 damage to an enemy. Pretty simple. Just do some damage. And then all the basic little mini decks all have these cards. We have an energy resource, which like just basically they're just for paying cards, but they have 1 per deck. You get 2 energy resource, 2 genius resource, and 2 strength resource. And now obviously you could take one of these out, like if you're only trying to focus on one or the other, but since you can pay for any card using that symbol, I believe, I don't know why you would. They almost seem like staple cards. We have the Avengers Mansion, max 1 per player. I'm not sure if the max 1 per player is just this card or if it's a location. It might be locations, like you might only be able to have 1 location out at a time. Action, exhaust Avengers Mansion, choose a player, that player draws 1 card. So that one just helps out everybody. We have a Helicarrier, location, shield. Exhaust Helicarrier, choose 1 player, reduce the resource cost of the next card. That player plays this phase by 1. Makes everything a little bit cheaper. We have Tenacity, condition card. Hero action, spend a fist resource or strength resource and discard this card. Ready your hero. Alright, so that's our basic cards. Then the last cards we have are all Spider-Man cards, and these ones are all going to have the orange back because they all go in the Encounters deck, the villain deck. So we have the obligation. Every single hero has an obligation. So when this gets drawn, regardless of whose turn it is, it goes to whatever player is listed here. So that's give to the Peter Parker player. So having an eviction notice. You may flip to your alter ego form and then choose one. So if you're not in alter ego, you can choose to flip there. And then you can either exhaust Peter Parker to remove this from the game. So basically, flip over to Peter Parker if you're not there. Exhaust him so you can't do anything during your turn with him. But then you get rid of this. Or you could choose to discard 1 card at random from your hand. This card gains Surge, which I'm not sure what Surge does, but I'm guessing it probably lets you do this again. And you get discard this obligation. So, yeah, that's kind of your choice. Is either you hurt yourself or you don't get to do anything for a turn. Since we have this handy dandy book and everything's in alphabetical order, I can look up the word surge really quick. See keywords. Alright, maybe not super quick. Search. After an encounter with this keyword is revealed, the player resolving the card reveals an additional encounter card. Complete the process of resolving the original card before revealing the additional card. Okay, so what that's saying is I can exhaust Peter Parker and not have him for a turn, or I can discard a card from random at my hand, so I don't know what I'm losing, and I have to play another bad card anyhow. And then down here, they're going to have a little threat icon, so when you play cards from the Encounters deck, this is how many threats go on your Steam. Alright, so that's, yeah, those are neat little things. So they're basically like one-time effects, but they hinder everybody. And then we have a side Steam. This is Spider-Man Nemesis. Has 3 of those, and it has a little 3 and a plus, which I believe this is, you play 3 per player, or you need 3 per player to lose the Steam, like 3 threats. I don't remember exactly. When revealed, each player reveals a random card from their hand face down here. When defeated, return each face down card to its owner's hand. So we have Highway Robbery. And then we get Vulture, who's a minion. So they just have a Steam instead of a thwart, and they have an attack. They don't get a defense. So he has Criminal, Quick Strike. After this minion engages your hero, it attacks. So he has 2 little tokens on the bottom. We have Sweeping Swoop, which is a treachery. So when revealed, stun your hero. If Vulture is in play, this card gains Surge. Then he has a Boost, which is what the little star icon on the bottom means. So if you see that instead of the little like triangle, tri symbols, I don't know what they're called. Then it's just remind you there's a boost on here instead. This activation deals damage to a friendly character, stun this character. He gets 2 of those, and then he has another treachery. The Vulture's Plans. When revealed, discard 1 card at random from each player's hand. Place this 1 threat on the main Steam for each different resource type discarded this way. So it looks like the Vulture is all about like limiting your hand, because you have to put 1 there, and then you have stuff that makes you discard. And he makes him discard, or he attacks right away. So he's kind of interesting. Alright, sorry for that little pause. I actually just went and just double checked the rule books. I just want to confirm some stuff while we're talking about it. So down here is going to be the starting threat that goes when you play this side Steam. This is the number that goes onto the main Steam. It's 3 per player. And then this symbol is an acceleration symbol. So if a side Steam has that, every time the Steam would gain 1 threat, it gains an additional 1, or during the like the beginning of the turn when it would gain more Steam, it gains 1 additional. So if you don't beat this Steam, it's going to gain more. And then the little symbols on the bottom, the little symbols here, these are called boost symbols. So if you play one of these, any card with a boost symbol, that gains, the villain gains that much extra steaming for the turn. So like if Rhino had 3 steaming, for example, he would gain an extra 3 for the turn when you played this. And then the stars are the boost or the star icons show these. I don't know why they call it boost for one and then boost for the other. It's kind of confusing. Yeah, we're more in this video just trying to show off the cards. I am reading through them. I'm trying to explain stuff as I can. But yeah, not having actually played the game or read through the book or any of that, I am doing my best. So there's probably stuff I'm going to get wrong, or not say, or whatever, and I apologize. So we have the Captain Marvel. There's her stuff. Let's start off with Carol Danvers, her alter ego. She is a SHIELD. Sorry, I have a little target on my camera. It's bugging me. So we have Shield Soldier, Command, Action. Choose one player to draw a card. So she helps out with 12 hit points, hand size of 6, a little bit strong Spider-Man, 4 recovery. And she gets 2 thwart, 2 attack, 1 defense. She's a hero. She's an Avenger Soldier. Rechannel, action. Spend 1 resource to heal 1 damage from Captain Marvel, then draw a card. Limit once per round. Alright, let's see what she has in her deck. Her ally is Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew. She's an Avenger and a Spy. Response: after Spider-Woman enters play, confuse the villain. So that'll be helpful. Crisis Interdiction, thwart, hero action. Remove 2 threats from a scheme. Then if you have an aerial trait, remove 2 threats from a different scheme. Interesting. So this is one where it's referencing one of the other traits, I guess they'd be called. Photonic Blast event. Attack, superpower. Action, deal 5 damage to the enemy. If you paid for this card using an energy resource, draw 1 card. She's all about, like, re-getting cards back. It seems like her thing. Oh boy, look at this. Energy absorption, just her resource card. She gets 3 energy. That can pay for any of these cards by itself. Especially if you drop it with that, it pays for it and you draw a card. So you're not even losing out on anything. So that's actually pretty cool. We have the Alpha Flight Station, a location shield. Exhaust Alpha Flight Station, choose and discard 1 card from your hand, draw 1 card. Draw 2 instead if you're Carol Danvers. Yeah, it's all about drawing and refilling, it looks like. Captain Marvel's helmet, armor tech, gets +1 defense 2 instead if you have the aerial trait. So far, stuff with aerial trait, like I say, just gonna say we have nothing giving us aerial trait. She has cosmic flight, superpower. Captain Marvel gains the aerial trait. Hero interrupt. When Captain Marvel would take damage, discard cosmic flight to prevent 3 of that damage. She also has Energy Channel, which is a 0 cost upgrade superpower. Max 1 per player. Action, spend X energy resource to put X energy counters here. Discard Energy Channel to deal 2 damage to each enemy, max to 10 for each energy counter here. Oh boy, so that works well with her big one. So you can drop 3 and get 3, and then you can deal 2 damage for each energy counter here. So I can do 6 damage just with that 1 card. Yeah, she's all about recycling her energy. Let's look at her resources here. Look at this. Energy, lots of energy, a wild, couple of, other cards, but not a ton. She has an aggression is what they want her to start with. So we have Hulk, Bruce Banner, ally, 2. He has 5 health, which is awesome. Maybe, we'll find out. He has no thwart. He cannot thwart anything, but he can attack stuff. So, he's an Avenger and a Gamma. It's the first time we've seen Gamma. Forced response. After Hulk attacks, discard the top card of your deck. If that card's printed, resource has Fist or Strength. Deal 2 damage to an enemy. Energy. Deal 1 damage to each character. Genius. Discard Hulk or Wild, all of the above. So, he is powerful, but now if you're playing him with Captain Marvel, you're going to run into the energy a lot more than you are the other cards. So he's kind of a big gamble then. Because you're probably going to hit that 1 deal 1 to each character. Which, I mean, I'm guessing characters, all enemies and heroes and allies, so... Here we have, she actually gets a second ally. You have Tigra, Greer, Grant, Nelson, Avenger, Response. After Tigra attacks and defeats a minion, deal 1 damage from her. We have Chase Them Down. Thwart. Response. After your hero attacks and defeats an enemy, remove 2 threat from a steam. So you're going to find out with these aspect decks is there are going to be cards that are repeated from one to the other. So like I think this one is also in the Thor set. So if you buy it, you're going to end up with, multiple of the same ones. But that's fine, because it gives you more option to build multiple decks of the same thing without having to buy, multiple of the same hero packs. When they keep repeating cards. So we have Relentless Assault, an attack. Deal 5 damage to a minion. You paid for this card using a resource, a fist resource. This attack gains overkill. Excess damage from this attack is dealt to the villain. That's a good way to finish off a minion and then hurt your villain as well. Uppercut attack. Deal 5 damage to an enemy. These aggression cards are all about just doing some straight up damage. For the Spider-Man with Justice, we're all about removing the thwarts. This is about doing damage. So you can kind of see why they chose these 2 decks to be your starting one. You have one character, Captain Marvel, just weighing out the damage and pounding on the villains and the minions. And you have Spider-Man kind of in the background, swinging over, dodging damage, and removing all the threats. So it's like one person is distracting the bad guy while the other one's rescuing people, kind of thing. So Power of Aggression, same as the Power of Justice. You get double when you're using the resource. And the green is wild, so you can use it to pay for anything. We have Attack Team, Shield. Use 3 attack counters. Exhaust Attack Team and remove 1 damage counter from it, or attack counter from it, to deal 2 damage to an enemy. We get some more damage. And we have an upgrade for combat training. Still, play under any player's control. Your hero gets 1 attack. So you get some more attack cards. Yeah, so this, which makes sense. Aggression being all about attack. Let's look at the basic cards. I believe these basic cards look like they're all the same. Mockingbird, Nick Fury, Emergency, First Aid, Haymaker. Yep, it's the exact same ones. So, and I think they did that just because in that way everyone has the same bunch. So when you start buying the other hero packs, you're going to get other basic cards. And there might be some more in the big pack. So Carol Danvers, Obligations, Family Emergency. You may flip over to Alter Ego form, choose one, you can exhaust her, or you are stunned. This card gains Surge, discard Obligation. So stunned again, as long as I have it here, with making an attack, you discard it. So either you can flip to your hero, your Alter Ego, just exhaust yourself, or you can stun yourself so you can't attack. And remember, she has lots of physical attack stuff. So you can do something else, you just can't do an attack. But then you also have to play another encounter cards. It's kind of what can you afford to do? So Captain Marvel's Nemesis have the Psyche Magnetron. The Psyche Magnetron is a Kree device with the power to turn thoughts into reality in the hands of Yon-Rogg. It would be a devastating weapon. When revealed, place 1 additional threat here. So this one gets 3 threats, and then you have to place 1 additional per person. And then this symbol means that during the the upkeep phase, I'm not sure what it's called here. For the main Steam, you place an additional threat there, or you draw an additional encounter card. So you definitely want to do that. We have Yon-Rogg. He has a little star by the 3, so that probably references his ability. We have the Elite Kree. And we have Force Response. After Yon-Rogg attacks, place 1 threat on the Psychic Magnetron. So basically, as he attacks, he's going to make that Steam harder and harder to beat. Which also, as long as it's out, you're drawing an extra encounter card, so it's going to be harder to defeat. So that's probably one you get rid of quick. Kree Manipulator, Surge. Ooh, yeah, he's about making you draw more cards. After it's revealed, draw an additional one. When revealed, place one threat on the main scheme, and then boost if the villain is making an undefended attack, place one threat on the main scheme. He's got a couple of those. And then he has Jan Rog's Treason Treachery card. When revealed, discard each energy resource from your hand. If you discard no cards this way, this card gains Surge. Oh boy, so yeah, Captain Marvel again. Works really well against her. She has lots of energy cards. So either you're going to have to discard a bunch of cards, or if you get lucky and don't have any, you have to play another bad card. Yeah, that's kind of terrible. So before we jump into the other characters, let's look at the starter deck scenario. I'm gonna guess this is just the Rhino ones, and it doesn't have, like, the side schemes in there, would be my guess, but I don't know, because although I've opened up hero packs before, so I have some idea of what I was looking at with those cards. I have yet to look at any of these. So we have, luckily they have little names in the bottom. Oh yes, we do have the side scheme. This deck isn't that big. I don't know why, I was thinking these decks should be a lot bigger. Rhino starter deck. Backside, just gonna say, so we have the Rhino encounter set, the bomb scare encounter set, and the starting encounters, standard encounter set. So let's look at our villain. So he's gonna look just like any of the minions or that, except he's gonna have a one symbol up here in the top showing that that's his first version. So he's Brute, a criminal. He's Rhino 1 of 21, like the heroes who keep track. He has 14 hit points. I'm the Rhino. I knock things down. That's what I do. That's who I am. And then, these guys are purple on the back. Keep them separate. Then we have version 2. So he goes from 1 steam and 2 attack to 1 steam and 3 attack. Gets bigger. And then he actually has an ability. When revealed, search the encounter deck and the discard pile for the breaking and taking side steam. Reveal it and shuffle the encounter deck. He still stays up. He gains 1 more HP, so he gains a 15. So I believe it's when you beat him the first time, then you reveal the second time. And then they have the third one here, which then he goes up to 4 attack. So he only has 1 steam. He's Rhino. He's not really a steamer. He's a bulky attacker. So he also has toughness, so he enters the play with a toughness status card, which means when he gets hurt, any amount of damage you can ignore it for 1 turn. Only revealed, he stuns, and he also goes up to 16 hit points. So that's neat, because then you can play harder mode by adding the third version. Alright, and he's purple. And then we have main scheme. Alright, so this is how this works. Up here is how many steam per player threats it has to have to lose. So 7 per player. So if you're playing 2 players, it's 14. Rhino is trying to smash through the facility wall and steal a shipment of vibranium. You must stop him. If this stage is completed, the players lose the game. It starts with 0, but it gets +1 per player every activation time or whatever you call it. Yeah, so it can build up. So that means you really only have 7 turns to beat this, is what this is saying, if you don't remove anything. And that's 1B. And let's flip over. We have 1A. So the Rhino is attacking a shield facility. The contents. So this is just saying what you should have in here if you're going to do it. Like if you want to do this scheme, this is what it's telling you to have. Rhino 1, Rhino 2, Rhino 2 and 3 instead for expert mode. So start him at 2 and give him 3. So anyway, it still has 2 forms. These are the Rhino and standard encounter sets, and 1 modular recommended bomb scare. So set up advance to stage B. So only flip this over and it tells me how to actually play it. So that's actually kind of neat how that works. The 1 card tells you all your stuff. Ooh. My power's flickering. Now we have an attachment. So we have So these are kind of like the upgrades, but they're for the villains. We have Armored Rhino Suit attached to the Rhino. Force Interrupt. When any amount of damage would be dealt to Rhino, place it here instead. Then if there's at least 5 damage here, discard Armored Rhino Suit. So basically he can take some damage off of him. We have another attachment, Charge. It says an attack 3. So he gains 3 extra attack, which he really needs, right? Force Interrupt. When Rhino attacks, the attack gains Overkill. Excess damage from an ally from this attack is dealt to that ally's controller. At the end of this attack, discard Charge. So for 1 turn, he can gain 3 attack, but he wants to defeat the allies before the heroes, is what it's saying. If he attacks an ally. Enhanced Ivory Horn, another attachment. This is a weapon. Hero action, spend 3 attack resources to discard this card. So this stays on him, it's not like a one-time effect. He gets some minions to help him out. He's going to have a Hydra Mercenary. Not really sure why Hydra's helping the Rhino, but, you know. There's only so many minion characters you can play. So no Steam, but 1 attack. But it's interesting to point out that this says 0 Steam versus the Hulks being a line. So I'm guessing that means is that he can gain Steam, but the Hulk cannot do any steaming or thwarting regardless. I don't know why one had a dash, one had a 0. It says guard. Well, this minion is engaged with you. You cannot attack the villain. So if he's out, basically you have to fight him first. Then we get Sandman, the minion. You can see also the difference there. He has a star. There's only 1 Sandman, but there's a bazillion Hydra mercenaries. Criminal Elite Toughness. This character enters play with a status card. Tough status card. We have the Shocker, who's a criminal. When revealed, deal 1 damage to each hero. Hard to keep down. A Treachery. When revealed, Rhino heals 4 damage. If no damage is healed this way, this card gains Surge. If he's already at full health, he's going to play another encounter. He's got a couple of those. He has I'm Tough, a Treachery card. When revealed, give Rhino a Tough status card. If Rhino already has it, this card gains Surge. So basically, if he's at full power, he's just going to get stronger. Stampede. When revealed for an alter ego, this card gains Surge. So if you're not around, it's just going to make you play another one. But if the hero's out, Rhino attacks you. If this character is damaged by the attack, stun that character. He's got a bunch of those. And then the 1 card reference, this is Breaking and Taking. He has a side steam. So something he does on the side. Rhino is breaking things and taking them. When revealed, place an additional 1 threat per person there. He also has the extra hazard icon. Deal 1 plus encounter card during the villain phase. I love the little reminder text. He also has another side steam. Crowd control. Panic civilians, crowded areas. It's difficult to confront the Rhino without putting them at risk. Get people to safety. The crisis icon. While this steam is in play, you cannot remove threat from the main steam. And it starts at 2 per person. So it's actually kind of neat. Little, like, extra things. And then we're back to the Rhino. Alright, let's see what else he has. He also has an additional side steam that you can slide into any deck versus any villain. We have the Bomb Scare. Reporters are out to Hydra agents have planted a bomb in a nearby hotel. When revealed, place an additional +1 per threat per person. And an acceleration icon. Place 1 threat on the main steam at the start of the villain. Start of the villain phase. Alright, so that can pop out. So you could have right now you could have up to the main steam, Rhino's 2 steams, and this side steam. You got 4 steams out at once, just with this deck. We have a Hydra Bomber, who has Hydra. When revealed, choose either to take 2 damage or place 1 threat on the main steam. I know that if you cut off 1 head, 2 more will take its place, but what if it blows up instead? Oh, some of this flavor text is awesome. Explosion. When revealed, if Bomb Scare is in play, assign X damage Among heroes and allies where X is the mode of threat on Bombster. If Bombster is not, this card gains Surge. I like that. Basically, like, if nothing happens, play another card so you're not getting off scot-free. We have False Alarm. When revealed, you are confused. If you are already confused, this card surges. That's Bombster. So we get like another 2 minions to deal with, a couple other cards. Interesting. And then we have the standard one. So these are kind of just like regular cards that can be in every. It should be in every deck. So you have Advance. When revealed, the villain steams. There's 7 of these, and it hasn't gone to bottom. So we got 2 of those. We have Assault. When revealed for the Alter Ego, it gains Surge. When it's the villain, they attack you. We have Caught Off Guard. Oh boy, he's punching right through him. When revealed, discard an upgrade or support card you control. If no cards were discarded, gain Surge. Gain Up. If it's your Alter Ego, it's Surge. If a hero, the villain and each minion engaged with you attacks. Shadows of the Past. Reveal your set aside Nemesis minion and put. Reveal your set aside Nemesis minion and put it into play. Engage with you. Reveal your set aside Nemesis side steam and put it into play. Shuffle the rest of your set aside Nemesis encounter set into the encounter deck. If your Nemesis minion does not enter the game this way, this gains a Surge. Interesting. I assume you just shuffled those in there, but maybe you don't. And you have to get that. I mean, if you're waiting on this one card to have to deal with your Nemesis, you might not have to deal with them very often. Alright, so that was the Rhino. So now what we can do is we can hop into the rest of the heroes here and see what we got. If we can get this open. Maybe. Come on, plastic. We'll put the Rhino one with the Rhino. Yeah, so we start off, we're gonna have She-Hulk, Tony Stark, Iron Man, good old T'Challa, Black Panther. And then it looks like we have a couple extra aggression, a couple extra justice, cards that you can then mix and matching, which are kind of cool. I think they're all ones that we've already seen. Uppercut, yeah, Attack Team. So they're all ones, they're just more, so that way it's neat. They're not just the cards you already have, but they're already giving you some extra ones in case you want to adjust how many cards of each one you have in the deck. And then we're going to get all of our leadership and protection and a bunch more basic. So let's set those aside. I think all of the basic are the same as the ones we've seen. Mockingbird, Nick Furies, Emergency, First Aid, Haymaker, Energies, Mannequins, Helicarriers. Just 2 more of each cards. And basically that's so that you can take these each 2 and you can add them with the other 2 colors, and then you can have 1 for each. So all 4 decks have all the same basic cards, is what they did. So let's look at Iron Man first, because they recommend he uses the aggression deck, which we've already seen.